Yo, what up? Everything look cool, sound cool, all good? Gotta change one thing real quick. I was gonna have some music in the background, but I didn't test it, so I said whatever. I'll do it next time. Oh wow. Okay. Give it a couple minutes here. Does everything look cool? Yeah, good enough. Okay. Thanks. I'm pretty happy with it. I need a way better camera. I know this camera's really bad, but it'll do. Really wish we had music going on, but you know. Just be uncomfortable silence. Okay. Everything good? Do I sound okay? Am I too loud or pretty much good to go? Yee. Okay, cool. Beautiful. Okay. I guess I could kind of start going. All right. So today I'm going to paint this guy. Boba Fett. Obviously. Boba Fett. Look at that. Uncanny resemblance, man. Literally, if you take the helmet off, that right there is what's under there. And then George Lucas didn't like that and he retconned it, so I don't blame him though. Tamara Morrison's way cooler than I am. So this is the Star Wars Legion Operative Expansion from Fantasy Flight Games. Anybody want to at them and show them some love? Buy their product, whatever. I'm not sponsored, but I could be. So this is a pretty cool. This actually comes. I have never played this game. I feel like we should, but we already blow our money on all kinds of other dumb stuff. So I guess it doesn't really matter. One more thing wouldn't hurt. It comes with all these cool cards. So like, Boba's got all these cool abilities. You probably can't read that because this camera's not good. Impact. I just like the artwork. Oh, yeah. It's jetpack rocket. Blowing somebody up over a balcony. That's always fun. Flamethrower. That's also always fun at family cookouts. Gotta love that. Real popular on the grill. Spoiler alert. This is him hitting Luke with the old gauntlet lasso. If you haven't seen it, it's like 45 years old, so, or no 40 now, 41. Yeah, but anyway, you're lost. You should have seen it. Hint. Anyone who hasn't seen Star Wars is weird. This is like a whole. Oh, okay. This is just the component list. Tells you how to put. These are cool actually because they can snap together. I didn't have to glue anything if I didn't want to, but I do want to. Yeah, rip. Talking about Amelia. But I do want it to stay together, so I glued parts of it, and I'll show you why in a minute. What are these? These are cool little. Ooh, cool picture of Bosk. Hunter. Emergency stint. Yes, these must be like play cards. Those are pretty cool. Yeah. I'm sure you could be good at tabletop games, but we just don't own any or ever play any. And then there's some like cool tokens in a pop-out thing. No clue what they are or what they do, but they look cool. They're like cool cardboard. I don't know, you can use them as like poker chips. Anywho, No, this game actually looks really cool, and I feel like there's another Scout Trooper one that has 2 Scout Troopers. My favorite Stormtroopers totally would be Imperial. Don't care. All right, let's start painting something. So this is him. You can kind of see him. I put a whole coat of primer white over him already because I like to prime all my minis because it's the only way you should paint a mini is if it's primed. I like the Vallejo. Yeah, no, not that one. This one. I use a lot of Vallejo paints because they're like $1 cheaper than Games Workshop stuff, which is awesome. But I have 2 problems. Oh yeah, I'm not playing Dragon Ball. Thank you. I really like Games Workshop stuff, but I don't have a pot over here. But oh yeah, I do. Yeah. So these are amazing paints, but they're $1 more, and the pots are a disaster waiting to happen because I like to punch and slap when I paint because who doesn't? So if I'm flailing around, this thing is just like a plastic lid, like a little dripper thing. Bad times. Many spills. Oh, hey, what up, dude? Nah, dude, Boba on a speeder. No, you know what we need Boba on? Never mind, I'm not going to spoil it. Josh hasn't got to that part. Hey, Josh, you will know what Boba needs when the time is right, when you get to the last episode. Oh, chef's kiss. I love it. You'll see. He will see. And the last episode was everything I wanted. We're talking about Book of Boba Fett for anybody that is living under a rock. Amelia. The last episode, bro, everything. They put everything in there. Like every 6-year-old deep down ridiculously happy. Oh, you finished 5? Oh, dude. That last episode. Anyway. So here's Boba flying. He also has a base and a rocket pack. I didn't glue that. So I'm using my Citadel mini holder. This is a transparent thing, but I put a little painter's tape over it. No, Bryce is awesome. I love her Mando episodes. Those are pretty much the best. But Robert's really done a good job on the Boba episodes. So this is his rocket pack. I'm going to eventually take this wooden thing off, glue it, put it together. Bam. He'll be on his little rocket pack. I have no idea how to do this to show. Yeah, so he'll be like floating above his base. So anywho, so I am going to, I'm going to bring hold up. It's probably going to mess me up. Yes, it is. I was kind of prepared and then I wasn't. So for reference, I lost my reference picture. That's cool. Anyway, streamer life, dude. You have it all ready to go, and then you totally hit 2 buttons and everything blows up. So that's cool. So there we go. We'll basically use that. So what I'm gonna do is basically I prime the model first, and then when I want to do paint coats, I kind of pick like the base colors to start with. So a lot of the underneath parts of his cloth are like a cool white. So I'm going to use this color right here. Ghost gray. Vallejo game color. Shake it up. Put it down. So that usually the base paints are a little bit darker. And then I'm using a little like kind of wax. Oh, this is all dried up. Cool. This will also be a mess. So that'll be fun. You get to see the first paint explode. There we go. It's coming. The base coats are typically like a darker color, and then you kind of like build it from there. Man, this is like so going to explode everywhere. So what I do, grab a paper clip, and you shove it in the hole. That's what she said. Okay. Boom. Problem solved. Put down just a little. This is another reason I like these. I'm sloppy and I don't put the caps on when I should, but you can do like a little dollop of paint. And then I have a little clean water thing that I put down. And I'm going to do, actually, BRB. Let's slide over here. That's not it. This guy. Blurry camera. This guy right here. So I'm gonna. These are acrylic paints, so you have to mix a little bit of water. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of water. Yeah. And you get it just so that you've got a lot of paint on the brush, but it's like moving freely. You're not having to fight with it. So I'm gonna look at his cloth parts. So his arms, I'm going to kind of hit with that. And I'm going to be pretty messy with it because I don't really care. I'll come back with the green parts and clean up. That's the nice thing. You will make mistakes and make a mess, but it doesn't matter because you can just paint over all of your messes. So I'm going to hit his hands. Basically anything where that kind of grayish white fabric is. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do his hands. Going to get in the middle here more. Probably going to put my elbow in paint at some point, but that'll be funny. Do that. His shoes are like a dark gray, which I don't have a color for yet. So basically, if I wanted to, it's just easier to kind of be just sloppy and hit all the parts that you know are underneath like the fabric, because you basically build in layers. I'm just hitting all the parts where there's remotely pants fabric. And just fabric in general. And I'm gonna get his butt. Gotta get the butt. So this is cool because it's pretty much just about the same color as the primer. You can't really see it. And then I think basically his neck wrap, his scarf is also that color. So I think that pretty much hit everything. I'm going to get around the gauntlet or the chest piece too. And you don't have to go crazy. I do like a fairly good base coat, but you don't, thinner the better, honestly. I think that's pretty much good there. Let me try to keep this on here. So I'm just kind of hitting like all of his cloth parts. So you can't really see it because it's very close to the same color as the primer, but that's cool because it's going to be like this super light gray color. So that's cool. Usually these paints too, if you go a little thinner, they dry quicker. So that's a good thing. Do that. And I always keep a separate, I have a clean water over here that I'm just going to dip from time to time onto the palette to like mix in. And then I have the actual like where I clean the brush in this nasty one. And then I'm going to drink all that, get real sick. No, I'm kidding. There's actually people that paint, like mini painters, that lick the brush a lot to like moisten it and to even for paint. Like, I think these are non-toxic, but why? Like, that's really nasty. So, if you lick your brushes or eat paint, you're weird. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shame anybody, but that's not right. Okay, so we can probably, this is where it gets really fun, because honestly, this should be dry enough by now to kind of do the thing. So I bought a green color that I think will be pretty good. Green sky. This is a pretty Boba color here. And I'm going to do highlight paints with this lighter color. And I hope they kind of go together. I like to lay out the paints like in order of base, highlight, all that good stuff. Kind of get your paints ready. So again, you're not fighting with it because I have horrible ADD and there's no way I'm going to paint a model and try to pick the colors at the same time. So I pick the colors first. You can always add or change if you want, but all right, that needs, ooh, yeah, that is a Boba color right there. And then typically, I like to do, it's a little thin. I'm going to grab another brush. Yeah. So I think this brush will be cool. This paint actually looks pretty good, but I'm going to do a little bit of water. Get it on the brush. I'm going to kind of mix this top. Usually the first little bit that comes out needs to be mixed. So let's start with his helmet here. Ooh, that's going to be real nice. I am digging that. So I like to use, this is like kind of a small brush, but enough to cover area quickly. But I do want to be a little more controlled now because I'm not doing like the entire mini. I'm literally picking and choosing. I'm just going to do the helmet, the chest piece. And I want to kind of be able to get into cracks without messing up too much what I already did. That's probably too much water, but whatever. Grab a little more paint. And as you go, you kind of roll the brush. I like to roll it into a fine point because it kind of helps you get in there more. And don't be afraid to touch stuff. And like a lot of people, will, when they have the big thing, they'll use their pinky to stabilize everything, which definitely helps. I'm kind of overextended because we're on camera here, but what are you going to do? Next time, don't push my buttons. All right. Cool. So I got a pretty good hit of the helmet there. You can kind of see. Not worried about the face ridge and stuff on the helmet because I'll come back to that. Man, I need a better camera real bad. So that's cool. I'm still kind of deciding what to do with the gauntlets. I think I'm just going to do his backpack, helmet, and chest in the green. Because I think in Return of the Jedi, there's actually, he started with like green gauntlets with like a little bit of red on them. And then I think he got red gauntlets by the end of Jedi. So I'm going to go with, I think the red gauntlets look really cool. They're like kind of a deep maroon color. So I think I'm going to do that. So that'll be cool. All right. So now for the chest. Again, there's a lot of little details, so I don't like to glop it on too much if there's like a lot of cracks. And he's got like his little, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of like sensor thing in there. Yeah, I need to try to like get this more on camera. There we go. So I'm like just kind of grazing, letting the brush kind of fall into little crack parts. Kind of going over it like that. And feel free. When you're painting, usually your hand is more comfortable in certain positions. So turn the mini to help you paint. Don't try to like do this because it's not good. All right. A tiny bit more for this part. Hopefully everybody's not bored. Is everybody having fun? I'm having fun, but I'm a dork, so I need to kind of get this. Need to see. There we go. So I'm just kind of letting the brush kind of hit the parts. I kind of goofed up a little bit, but I'll clean it up eventually. But now he's starting to look like Boba Fett. So things are happening here. This is actually really cool. And like I said, the helmet literally... Oh, I missed the top of his head. You can come back and hit it with a couple more coats just to kind of build and get it nice and tight. But, I mean, the helmet's literally almost dry. Oh, yeah, and then he's got the top part. I almost forgot that. So this whole top area here... Probably really on top of the mic now. And I'm going to have to get a little more paint and a little bit more pointed tip. again, I'm going to have to probably go back, but it will. Yeah, he's got this top part. Right here. Cool. So now he's got, yeah, let's see if you can kind of see that. Yeah, right here, this top part of his neck is part of the armor. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and then of course his cod piece. How could I forget that? You really got to get in there. All right. Hit his belt a little bit, but that's okay. So there we go. So he's starting to look like Boba Fett. Got that cool green color. Very happy with that color choice. I might go back. So his chest piece in a lot of pictures, and even in the movies, is like a tiny bit darker. It's got like a bluish, like almost a jade color to it. So I think I might go back. The other cool thing is if you have like limited colors and you don't like it, you can just add like a drop of another color and you can either like brighten it up, change the hue. So I'm going to let that base coat of the green dry for a second. And then I might add like just a drop of like a dark jade color to kind of give it a little blue. I think that'll be cool. But in the meantime, let's do his... We're going to do his pauldrons and his knee guards, which, boom, little baby drop right there. You do not need a whole lot of these paints, like by any means. This is already pretty watery. So I'm going to kind of leave it as is. All right, let's start with this guy. Kind of hit that. And this is kind of actually a thin paint. So I'm definitely going to hit this twice. I'm going to let this top layer dry. Oh man, this is like popping already. I'm very excited. Okay. And then I think, I'm trying to look here. I think the way they hooked it up, I think this is part of his pauldron. So it's going to be, that's the cool thing about these models. There's no right way to do it. Like, you know, if it's like sloppy and crazy, you got to learn some, you know, you have to start somewhere. But if you want to change up the colors or give it your own thing, like I was actually almost thinking of doing the original Boba suit in the new colors, the new Book of Boba Fett colors. But I thought I'd stay traditional. But you can do whatever you want. Games Workshop says repeatedly, you just spent $30 on a little plastic man. You can paint him rainbow colors, whatever. They encourage people to like make new Space Marine chapters, do crazy stuff with the paint. Like you can do whatever you want. So there's no wrong way to do it. Just try to make it look clean and cool is my only thing. Oh, they actually have his knee. Oh, nope. Don't want to spoil it. They have something here on his leg, Josh. You're going to see later. It's pretty amazing. Everybody's freaking out on Twitter. All right. So I'm going to hit his knee pads here. Again, just literally letting the paintbrush kind of make contact and do its thing. And even if you glop it a little bit, as long as it's wetted down, usually it dries. You know, you don't have like a huge built up thing. It usually dries pretty well. I'm trying to keep this on camera, but also need to kind of see. Okay. So I think that's pretty good there. And then all the rest of that is basically, okay. That can all be like darker grays, which I can add later if I want to go over it. That's the other cool thing. I like any project. I do this with music, whatever. I like to just get the base skeleton down because it's super easy to go back and tweak once it's done. And actually for me, it's more motivating to have it like mostly finished and then go back and you can spend hours and hours and hours of fine detail. So there we go. So Canis can confirm if this is starting to look like Boba Fett. I know this camera's not great and the colors probably look kind of weird. but I don't know if this is going to zoom in on him or my hand. Yeah, there we go. That's pretty good. So from down here, he's starting to look like Boba Fett. So I am pretty happy so far. So got the cod piece. Oh, I missed a little bit of the cod piece. So the paint should still be good. When you use, you can use, there's all kinds of palettes. There's wet palettes, which stay, like the paint never dries because there's like a layer of water underneath. I don't really do that. I usually use wax because this does at least help it stay at least somewhat usable for longer. And I missed a little tiny bit in here of the cut piece. Hit the helmet one more time. Okay. All right. And I didn't get a dark gray color for his feet, but that's not a big deal. That can literally be like one of the last details. Yeah, no, this color looks real cool. So I say let's start doing some of the dark maroon color. I need to buy. There's paint shakers you can get. I saw one for like $25 at the hobby shop near us. I might get one because that'll really thoroughly get your paints mixed in, which I'm all about. All right. Let's see how this maroon color does. So we're going to start on the most noticeable. There's a lot of little detail I'll probably go back and hit. But like I said, I just want to get the base colors down. I think I went to... No, I didn't. Oh, that's his gun. So that can be a different color. I'll get inside here. There's that. Just kind of let it flow into this section. I think all of this is supposed to be maroon. And like I said, I'm just going to err on the side of going overboard because I can always come back and clean it up. There's like circuitry and stuff on his gauntlet. But that looks sick. Oh, yeah. All right. So that's pretty cool. And then the other gauntlet is pretty much mostly red. I gotta kind of look close here. Oh, see, I hit his thumb, but that's okay because we can come back and clean that up later. Right now, I'm just gonna try to get, and again, my pinky's probably blocking everything. Get as much as I can done here. I don't really know where his cloth ends. I think I went a little too far, but again, don't really care. Shoot a couple little pieces in there. This is all come back and touch up later. Not worried about it. He's looking pretty awesome so far, though. I'm very happy with all these colors. I think that's one of the big things is just getting the right colors that make the model pop and look as legit as possible. I can't really tell. I think I'm supposed to go in a little further with the red. Let's get a good mix here. I'm going to go up to here. And then I think to here again, I'm hitting his gloves, but I don't care at this juncture. I'm just kind of getting the bases all good. I'm also gonna hit that while I have the red. Because I know a lot of this is his rifle. Like I said, I'm gonna go kind of overboard. Okay. So I like that. I like the red gauntlets because I think it pops more. And like I said, that's more Jedi. Yeah. Try not to miss chat. Yeah. Okay. All right. Amelia's knitting right now, so that's cool. We're all doing old people stuff. That rocks. All right. So I think the green here is pretty much dry. So while I have the red, see, you can kind of like mix it, like take turns, whatever paints are drying and whatever you want to jump to. I think I'm going to do the red part of his helmet. The eye visor section. And this brush should still be small enough to kind of get in there. Ooh, that's too much paint. You don't want too much paint when you're doing the fine detail stuff, because like I said, these paints go a really long way. So I'm going to hit that. Again, I'm not super worried about being too clean because I'm going to come back with a really, really, really small brush and hit the black part of his visor, the inside, like the actual visor. And I apologize if you can't really see what I'm doing, but this is where you got to kind of basically put the model right in your mouth and concentrate. Come down here. And again, gonna have to probably do some cleanup, but we'll worry about that later. I'm just gonna go inside the whole thing, get all of this red thoroughly in here, and we can come back. I'm kind of hitting his little rope thing. Okay, so this is really, really starting to look like Boba Fett. If you can see it. I don't know what it's zooming in on. And also it's really hard to like aim this at the camera. There we go. Yeah. These are actually like huge minis too, which is cool. I'll have to look on the side of his head because I don't know what this is supposed to be. So we'll hold off on going too crazy on that. So I'm going to go around. I think the ring band around his head is red also. And it is now. So in my Star Wars universe it is. So fight me. Do that. Okay. Get the brush kind of loaded, but not too loaded. And we're going to go around very slowly and very gently with just kind of letting the edge of the brush hit there. And I'll flip this upside down and catch the other side. Cool. So now there's a whole ring around his head. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but that's how it is here. So we cool. I think while I have this, I think there's a ring. So his like caught under his utility belt, there's like a red ridge. So I'm gonna try to carefully get in there. Ooh. Now my paint's starting to dry up a little bit. I'm gonna reintroduce a little bit of water. Grab some of the bigger sections of paint. Roll it up. And just kind of get in there and let the brush hit that bottom part. So this is going to be tricky because I really got to get in here. And again, I'm going to err on the side of hitting the belt part because I haven't painted that yet. So see that little under ridge there? I'd rather keep it away from the green and gray. So I hit that. That seems to be pretty good. We'll come back and clean up all those rough edges later. So his whole utility belt is looking like, clean this off because I'm about to do a new color. Dark. I don't want to go too dark. I grabbed a really dark, almost reddish brown, but I think I'm gonna nix that. I think I'm gonna do these two. I'm gonna do the darker base part and then a little bit lighter to lighten it up for like the leather because it's pretty dark. His pouches are pretty dark, but I don't want to go too crazy. Shoot a little more. Yeah, so that's pretty dark in and of itself. So we'll probably have to lighten that up. This is getting pretty thick here, so I'm going to hit it with a little bit of water and do that. And we're going to hit some of the side parts on the pouches and his holster here. Who knows what he's got in there, but you know how Mandalorians roll. Always got weapons everywhere because you never know who you're going to have to disintegrate. All right. So kind of go, just gently brush along there to try to avoid the gray. And get a little more water because we're really going to have to get in here now. A little more paint, kind of roll it, drag it. Do that. Now for the underside, going to hit that up to there. That's cool. And then I'm going to hit the back here. And this is another reason why I leave like the rocket pack off, because it's way easier to get under here. In fact, his whole torso, funny trick. Hopefully I don't break everything. You can pull a Darth Maul. Another spoiler alert. So if once I start doing the cape here, I can actually pull the legs off for right now and then reattach them. I think it looks cooler to have the whole thing together while I'm painting, because a lot of this I don't have to get too crazy in there, but I'm going to have to eventually. So I figured it'll be easier. Usually there's actually a lot of guys that, especially the huge, like there's a lot of huge, crazy detailed, like Warhammer minis. People will just like paint a bunch of different parts separately and then put it together and then finish up the detail. I have way too aggressive ADD for that, and I get excited and I put the model together because I want to see the little dude. But if there's something like cape details or things like that are going to get covered by something and you got to really get in there, I will actually leave it separate and then try to hit it like right here. With the rocket pack on, there's no way I could get around the back here and do his belt and whatever else I needed to do. So this makes it way easier. And all I did, this is just a little piece of wood, a little crafting stick. You can use them as supports or whatever, use them as logs, paint them. But I just cut one in like a quarter and glued it to his back. And then I'll pop it off when I'm done. And he'll be good to go. And I'm getting really sloppy here while I'm talking, but oh well. Because I'm going to get in there and clean it up later anyway. So we're going to hit the pouch pretty heavy here. I think I might have done a little bit too much. Wowda. But again, I'm not super worried about it. Gonna hit that. Hit that pouch. The holster. Star Wars experts in the room. What is in Boba's holsters? He's got 2. I mean, I have an idea of what's in there, but I feel like we have somebody who knows a lot about Star Wars in the chat. So, a banana, yeah. Honestly, that's you. I was talking about you, Amelia. You're the Star Wars pro. And I believe you if you say he's got a banana. All right, flip him upside down. What was the question? Wow. I said, what does Boba have in each of these holster pouches? And hey, if you can tell me what's in the whole utility belt, that would be very impressive. Because I feel like that's a thing that could happen. All right, so there's a couple of little spots that I got to do just a tiny little tap with the tip of the brush. Little crevice parts. Boom. All right, cool. So that's good. That looks pretty good. Man, he's already really starting to look like Boba Fett. All right, I think that's pretty good on all these other details. It looks like there's a bunch of different shades I could do, and I'll worry about that later. Tools. Oh, wow. Okay. So that in the holsters or in these pouches on the side are tools, or the utility belts tools, or it's all tools? He's kind of like Batman. Is that shark repellent in one of them? Does he have like Tuscan mace in one of them? He can spray somebody. All right. What is? I need to see. I think a banana is better. Okay. He has a smaller blaster, so that's kind of what I figured. I mean, he does like to blast fools. I need to. Can I like zoom? No, I cannot. Trying to see like what I have this on the smaller monitor. I might almost have to drag it because I think. It almost looks like his rope thing. They have like no good pictures of his. I think his rope is like kind of brown. Can you confirm that? There's a gray. Oh, okay. It's like gray, which it already is right here. So I'm just going to kind of leave it that color. Cool. He prefers the EE3 carbine rifle. Yes. Love it. That's this guy, right? Is this the that right there? Is this the EE3? No, this is super nerdy and I love it. I'm here for it. Hey man. Even in the fantasy world, you got to know your gear, dude. You got to be geared up. Space is not friendly. Yeah. Yes. Yep, that's the one he has right here in his hand. So that's the EE3. So this model is definitely accurate. All right. So gonna have to do some touch up eventually, but so it looks like, yeah, this little rope band, it looks like it's also, I just touched it with the brown. That was smart. It looks like it's the same color, so that's cool. So here's what we're gonna do. Something. No, I almost did that in the wrong paint thing. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I might keep this smaller brush for what I'm. No, actually, I have one a little bit bigger. So to really add cool details to stuff, I think we're kind of at that point for the fabric. And like I said, we'll go back later. But it looks that way because this is a bad camera. But even in real life, kind of boring. I mean, it's cool. It looks very cool, but needs a little something to add to the realism. So we're going to use a wash. They're called different things depending on the company. But basically, this is a pigmented, super watered down, like, see, it just literally like wants to disappear. Super, super watered. Where did I just put it? Yeah, do a little bit more. So these are cool for like fabric and cracks and crevices. This adds a whole nother dimension to the mini. So I could go, sometimes I go with like a smaller brush, but for fabric, I kind of like to just go crazy. And we'll see how that pans out. So I'm going to put a bunch of this stuff. Actually, I might do a little bit less because it's a bit much. But like all of the cracks and crevices, I'm going to do this color. And then I can come back. I might come back and paint over it with the lighter gray and do some edge highlighting. But this literally is meant to go in every single crack and crevice. And you can, once you do it, you can kind of dry your brush off. So like right now it looks like I'm ruining everything I just did. I'm putting like black paint in there. but I'm going to come back over it real lightly. And I have different colors. You can do like blues, greens, reds. Everything has a color wash you can do typically. So I'm going to come back over it. This takes a while to dry, so that's why I kind of waited. But it's really cool when it's done because you want it to kind of settle in the cracks of everything. And that'll add like the shading and stuff. I'm going to just hit this whole thing here. And a lot of times I'll find like heavy cracks and stuff like that I really want to pop. And you just kind of push down. You get a good glob of it. And then you kind of push down. And it basically just kind of sits in there. Like right here where his leg's bent. I'm going to let that set. Hit the insides here. This is that Bob Ross moment where you're like, oh, I was cool, and then I just completely ruined it. But I know we can bring it back. And I'll fine tune it once I get all my colors kind of back to where I want. Oh, see, I hit his knee pad with it. So, oh well, bummer. Definitely like to get this like all in the hands and like the fingers and stuff of a mini. It really adds cool like shading detail. We're going to go way heavy in here. And again, a lot of this will evaporate, so I kind of like to go a little bit crazy. You don't want it to pool too much so that it's like three-dimensional, but you do want there to be a very dark edge separating like the things you're trying to separate. Like right here, this is really cool because his ropes looked really boring a second ago, and I'm going to have to clean them up for sure. And you probably won't be able to see this, but you can take my word for it. All the ropes now, you can see all the little knots and stuff that they put in there. So that's really cool. I'm going to do this. We're going to go way into the material on his side around the armor now. Way down in here. To the sides here. I think I'm going to not do this on the armor. I might do it eventually. I'll see how the green wash looks. But for right now, we're going to kind of leave it. I'm really going to go crazy on his hands here because I want all the knuckle grooves and stuff to really show up. The cool thing about this too, because of the surface tension, if you want to kind of clean things up a little bit. Yeah, see, I'm getting this everywhere. So this is definitely going to need cleanup on aisle 3, but all good. If you want to like take away some, if it is kind of glopped in one area, it's like too much, you just kind of dry the brush off and tap that area and it'll actually suck the paint right back off. So that's nice too, but just at this point, all we have is base coat, so it's not like we're ruining detail or anything. So we're just going to do that right now. I'll worry about his boots later. Kind of cool looking. But it's going to add a lot of like shadow detail once I go back over it with that lighter gray and kind of clean things up. Sometimes I'll even do a dry brush. I'll just get like a tiny bit on the brush and just kind of like whip back and forth to kind of add a little bit, kind of like layer it back up. So that works too. He's looking pretty sweet. So I think I can't tell if this like, I guess his blaster's kind of black also. Oh, you know what? I missed a couple little spots. And I probably could have done this after I did the paint, but I kind of want to see how it all blends in. This is helping me tell better where stuff starts and stops. So we're going to do that. That'll kind of add some shadow there. That's actually really cool. Yeah. So with a humanoid model, typically I will glop it all over the fabric and stuff, let it set, and then I might just kind of fan brush it back very, very gently. Yep, Bob Ross. Heck yeah. I wish. All right. So now, something I've been wanting to do, we're going to get out the really, 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 really little brush, and I have a beat up one. It's an Artificer Layer Citadel brush. That's the Games Workshop company that the brushes they do. This has an incredibly fine tip. Like, you can barely see it, but this is for like the edge stuff and the really detailed stuff. So we're going to, there's my black. I'm going to do the slit in his actual visor on the helmet. Just a teeny tiny little bit of black. Gonna wet it down. Gonna hit that. Pop, boom, pop these gross bubbles here. And we're just gonna get like just enough on the edge. There we go. Teeny tiny bit. And this is where you definitely get up close and personal with the mini. So I'm gonna just do. He kind of looks like a hot mess at this point, and that's basically where I want to be. Because then, if you really want to get detailed with minis like this, it's kind of like a couple of step process. You're going back and forth, building, get one thing done, add to it, come back, clean up the stuff that you did. You're kind of building it up and up and up, and it makes for like a really cool looking mini when you're done. So it's kind of cool. It's definitely a process, but it's cool in the end when your mini turns out cool. Hopefully it turns out cool. So there, I just did the black visor part. I don't know if you can really see, it's kind of shiny too. So he's got the red and the visor part, so that looks pretty cool. This is actually looking really sick, even though he's completely jacked up looking with all the wash. Now, one color I didn't grab that I'm going to grab right now, and I think I'm going to keep this little teeny tiny brush because I really want to get fine detail. Be right back. I'm going to find a dark green because there's his red visor, like the T, and then there's like a darker green just going around the cheeks, basically. So let's see what I have here. I think this will probably do. Yeah. So I have like a really dark kind of, it's more of an like a forest green, but this is more of a green. I'm going to rock that. At least for right now. See how that looks. That came out pretty watery already. Yeah, some of these greens are watery with this brand, so I typically don't add a lot of water. In fact, I'm trying to mix this up a little bit more. And maybe get like 1 or 2 more dollops. Yeah, this is already a pretty liquidy green color. So I'm just going to do this. See how it goes. Sometimes too, if your paints come out real liquid like, I'll let them set for a second. Let them just kind of sit there. All right. So they don't actually have, see, it comes back around. They don't actually have like a groove cut into the plastic. So this is where it's fun to just kind of do your own thing. And I'm going to, this part, the front part they did, but it comes back around in all the pictures. So I'm actually going to freehand it down by whatever this thing is called. And again, there's definitely going to be clean up on aisle 3. But that's cool. The one side, you can't see it because this is awful camera. Yeah, you can kind of see it. So right there, there's like a dark green kind of upside down U that goes over the helmet, and I might have to build this up a bit, clean it up, get it rounded more, but that's a good start, I think, for right now. And we're going to do the other side. Bring it out to a fine point. Everybody asleep yet? You guys pass out? Die of boredom? All right, I really got to get in here. Yeah, cool. That's what I was hoping for. Just destroy your enemies with boredom. All right, so yeah, this is kind of getting gloppy a little bit, but the beautiful thing is I'll come back with the lighter green and clean it up. So get down to there. There we go. So now it's just a cool extra detail. You can kind of see it. Yeah, on each side of the red part, there's that cool dark green upside down stuff going on. So that's cool. All right. This wash looks like it's clean. Doesn't really know nothing about Mandalorian related, so I'm here for it. You're looking good. Cool. Thank you. All right. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to show you a little trick that I'm still terrible at, and I don't know how some of these like crazy good artists do this. And really wash the green off, because green really likes to stay in any kind of paint. All right. So I already moved my paints around too much. I think I was going to do bloody red as the highlight. So highlight painting, especially on armored dudes, can be very fun, but also I'm bad at it. And I always get mad, and I'm probably going to mess up his whole helmet, but that's okay because I can fix it. So you get a really, really small amount of the stuff. And then you find hard edges. And then you ever so slightly kind of graze them. You probably won't be able to see this because of this camera. I need a little bit more water, I think. Because it should just kind of fall off. Yeah, you want it to all, like, not quite be a wash, but pretty darn close. Because you just want it to kind of fall off onto the mini. So I'm going to catch the inside of the visor. Yeah. Just ever so slightly kind of feather it. Oh, that's popping. And once I do this mini, I will be taking pictures and posting them, but kind of get on the inside of the rim, the underside here. And again, if you go too thick, you can always come back with the base color and clean it up. But that's pretty cool. Just a little bit even really makes the edges pop on a lot of these colors. Get a little bit more here. I also have a brand new one of these brushes, which when I get real serious, I'll probably bust out, but I just want to kind of mess with it here. Yeah, I bumped top of his helmet, but we can clean that up later. Yeah, so this is actually, you can't really see it here, but I'm just going along the hard edges of his red visor with a lighter color red, and that's really making the edges pop. So you can actually do a lot of models, they do 3 tones. They do the base, kind of a medium brighter color, and then a really light color to like barely graze the edge, but that kind of makes it pop more. This is going to be rough getting in here because his arm's out, but I'm going to try it anyway. Yeah. Get a little more paint and a little more rounded. And now I'm going to hit from this way. And a lot of times, if the paint's not coming off super thick, that's actually probably better. You really can just feather it, build it up. Yeah, I might even do a third color just barely on the edges. But it really makes the metallic parts kind of pop and look way more three-dimensional. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I think I'm to the point where we're going to pretend Obi-Wan got to him and chopped him in half. Another spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the prequels, don't. You heard it here first. No hate mail, please. All right, so we're going to clean that off. So now I think I have my cape colors here. I think this was going to be my cape colors. I got a few because I like to really build on fabric, especially tan fabric. I'm going to start with the dark one as the base, and then we can kind of build up from there. I'm going to turn this palette because I don't want to get crazy colors in there. So we're going to go pretty good with this. And I'm going to get another one of these somewhat bigger brushes, like maybe this guy. It might be a little too big. Let's start with this guy. It's pretty decent size. A little bit of water, get the brush wet, start pulling this. Get it very nice and full of paint, but also watery enough to kind of move. And then we're going to go and just get all the parts of the cape. And I've seen a bunch of different cape colors. Like some of them, his cape is almost the same color as his armor. I like it being like the tan cloth. I think that looks cooler because it just stands out more. You don't want them to look too. That's why this to me is the coolest variations. I like the red gauntlets with the like kind of tan cloth cape because everything pops more and he stands out. So Boba Fett is not boring. He likes to live in the shadows, but he's also kind of a big deal. All right. Get a bunch more for the other side. And we're going to do the top of the cape now. And like I said, you see me like I'm moving the model a ton. I want to keep my brush where I'm comfortable with it. And the mini can be the thing that moves around. So I usually rotate the mini to kind of get into different places. That. Yeah. Get right here, in there. All right. When I get close, I do a little less paint. Like if I'm close to stuff, but now I can go crazy. Oh, whoops. I just did all water, but that's okay. I'm really going to glop this on here. All right. It's a little on the watery side, but what are you going to do when you're dumb and you accidentally mix the paint and the water completely? Okay. There's going to be some air bubbles and get right in through here. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So got his cape. Cape's all done. For the most part, for the top layer, I might come back while one side's drying. You can kind of come back and hit the other side. Because like I said, I really like to have a nice maybe 2-coat base coat. Because it helps protect the mini from like the color chipping off. And when you're layering stuff, that's not as big a deal as long as you don't see like the primer white. So that's pretty good. I do like that. I like the extra details on this mini too, because he actually has a blaster hole. You probably can't see that either. But there's like a little, I think maybe you can. Yeah, right there. That's a blaster hole in his cape, which is actually really cool. So somebody took a pot shot, didn't work. Probably not around to tell the story about it. because that happened, and then he probably went, well, now I am insulted. And then he got up and smoked him. That's how I see it anyway. Okay. So I think we're going to take a break on everything else. This is actually drying pretty well. So I think I'm going to grab... Oh, no, I already have it here. Where'd it go? I'm looking for my black. And it's right here. Here we go. I'm going to do a little bit more black. I'm going to paint his blaster. I'm just going to do a full black base coat, and then we can kind of build it up. Another crazy thing I want to do. So in the Jedi era, Tanto Bagel. Around Jedi especially, he had a ton of like scarring on his armor where the paint came off. You can't jack up the steel, but the paint was coming off, so there's like a lot of slashes and scrapes. I think I'm going to go back and do that once I'm all done, which is probably the dumbest thing you could do when you're done with the mini, is go back and scuff it up. But I'm going to do that because it looks cool. So the cool thing is too, so there's different metallic paints that you can do. I'm trying to keep this on camera. That actually have like metal flake and stuff. So I'm probably going to use one of my super light silver metallics so that it looks like Beskar underneath with all the little slashes. So I think that'll be pretty cool. I might even do that before I do all like the edge work and stuff, because if I really go too much or mess it up, that way I can go back and not completely have to redo everything I did. All right, let's get some more black here. And do the butt of the gun. Yeah, that might be too much. There we go. Do the butt of the gun here. And then this has got like a really big holder here. And there, that's part of it. Boom. So his blaster's looking good. He's looking pretty good. Butt of the gun down here, and that's pretty sick. All right. So that's cool. So a lot of this stuff's starting to dry. So I'm going to experiment now. I'm going to dry this off. And I'm just going to kind of give... Actually, you know what? The legs are a bigger area. So I'm going to just kind of smack it. Yeah, they're not really moving too much, the wash, so I think it's pretty dry. So now I'm going to do what I was saying before. I'm going to get a little bit of this light gray color with no water. And I'm just going to kind of like push it into the bristles and then get a bunch of it off. And we're going to kind of fake dry brush here. This might even be too much, but we'll see. Yeah, that's a little bit too much. Yeah. And we'll kind of smack this. And kind of feather. And usually it helps to kind of go away, like go the other direction from where your crevices are, because you don't want to go inside the crevices too much. So I'm just going to kind of move along here and get a little bit more paint in the bristles here and kind of dry it off. Yeah, and then do that top part. Get it back to the color it was, and then kind of go along here. Kind of get in there. This is like kind of more detail work, but it does pay off eventually. But it leaves a lot of cool shadows in material, especially. And again, you can always go back if you take away too much of the wash. You can kind of come back, but to try it this way at least first. And then you can kind of go back and add more shading if you want. Because I kind of want him to look dirty. I mean, he's seen some stuff, so I don't want him to be too clean. Just kind of grazing, feathering. Bringing that light gray color back up. I don't know if you can really see, but I'm starting to get it back, you know, and I'll probably go in with a finer brush and bring it back, but it's leaving a lot of cool like shadows in the crevices. So like I said, I'll probably kind of go back in and clean it up a little bit more, but I kind of like to do this. You know, even if I do like paint a section, like I'm going to paint this front square, I don't use any water, and I just a little bit of the paint. And there's some like really cool shading in there. And then I'll probably do this same thing with the even lighter color for the edge highlights. Just really, really fine brushing really adds. Okay, see, I got a little too much there. We can come back and add shade later. But see, like the front of his leg, I'm bringing it back up to that light gray, but there's some sick shading and stuff in the material. So I think he'll look pretty cool when I'm done there. Again, I'm kind of making a mess of like the other parts that we did, but that's okay because you can go back. Oh, what up, McKinley? All right. And we're going to get the pants cuffs. Part of this is too, I didn't wait till the wash usually takes a lot longer, but I'm going ahead because we're streaming and I don't care. All right, so I'm going to do this front section again, the bigger parts, and then kind of bring the rest of this stuff back up. And I'm gonna do that right there. And I actually hit the edge of the yellow part with this lighter color. And it kind of looks awesome because, again, it looks like Beskar underneath the paint that came off. So that's actually really cool. All right, and then this whole side here, we can come back. And we're going to throw a decent amount of paint at this, staying out of the crevices. All right, so there you have it. You can kind of see, even with this crummy camera, his pants are starting to come back up to color, but there's a lot of really cool shadows in there. And I'm going to keep working at it until I'm happy with it and then add some edge highlighting the same way. But this usually looks really cool when you're done with it. Oh, dang, dude. McKinley, you don't have to do anything for us, but thanks if you do. All right. We're going to get in here and brighten up the fabric here. And even just kind of dabbing it a little bit will kind of do the trick, because you don't want it to go into the cracks, basically. That's the only thing you're trying to avoid. You want to keep those cool dark cracks that you made. And I'm coming back over the rope And again, it'll be probably a nice little ballet of going back and forth because I'm not that good. But eventually you'll get there. Kind of dab this part. Whenever these hoses are, I'll have to look that up and see for color reference. But that's looking pretty good too. So see, now his sleeves are back up to the color they should be, at least for the base. But there's a bunch of cool shadows in the fabric now. And I usually do that with each piece. Okay, there's a love fest going on in the chat. So I'm gonna let that happen. Okay. I'm pretty happy with all that. I think what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna do another base coat of the kind of the darker yellow on all of his parts because I hit him pretty good. And I think I'm pretty happy with the underneath stuff. And again, I'm going to have to go back and forth, I'm sure. But I want to bring these back up to basically where they were. And I bumped them with like 18 different colors. So that shoulder pad's good. I hit this one with that dark green. So I'm going to bring that back up. That's going to take a second because that green really wants to pop through. Cool. So I'm just kind of touching up the shoulder pads. There. So he's looking pretty sick. I'm going to do the same thing here. I hit the knee pads pretty hard with a bunch of stuff. And I think I missed the ring around there too. So I'm going to basically bring this whole section of the knee pad up. I hit it with the wash really hard too accidentally. But again, happy little accidents. So that's good. And we'll let that dry. Probably I'm going to hit these because they're a lighter color with like other stuff that I hit it with underneath. Probably going to have to do like possibly 3 coats because I can see some of this stuff poking through still. Go here because I can. All right. So I just brought his knee pads back. I'm going to hit the top here. Trying to leave a lot of that shading in, but I hit the knee pads with that darker yellow. So that's looking pretty good there. I just realized I missed something with the cape, but that's okay. Speaking of the cape, we might go round 2. And we might just have enough paint here because I'm a dum-dum. And I went too watery. Probably not. And I already forgot which color it was because I'm being disorganized because this is not the way you should do it. So it was this guy, yeah. Okay. So a little bit more of that paint. Boom. All right. Okay. So we're going to hit the cape again with another round. Get a nice, a little bit darker tan base. And then we can kind of go from there. Don't need to go too crazy because this was already pretty good. But I just want to get it nice and thick so that when I do the detail stuff, it'll have a really good base to grab onto. So that's cool. So I need to find, he's got like a cool, I'll be right back. It's paint finding time. I'm going to take the ghost gray with me. I'm going to try to find a cool gray for his boots. Oh, and I think I found it. And I might use this on a couple of his other armor things eventually when I'm done. Run all over cords here. Okay. So this color is kind of a, like somebody added just a little bit of black to it from that. So that's perfect. But it's still kind of in the blue family. Oh, hey, hello. That's not shaking enough. That threw up everywhere. Okay. Maybe. There we go. All right. Wow, this is super liquidy, so no water necessary. And I think right now it's safe to put him back together, kind of, to help me get a little more stability. And so he looks cooler. Yeah, he's looking real cool so far. All right, so his whole foot area, his boots are basically this darker gray. So I'm going to hit that up right now with the darker gray. This is probably going to take a couple of coats. See, man, this is like such a liquidy. The only thing with the Vallejo I found is some of their colors, like they're just the mix is very watery compared to others. Let's see if that's better. You have to work kind of the stuff together like any paint, but it's just very liquidy. So this is probably going to take another like maybe 3 coats also. So we're going to do that part. We're going to do that part. Just underneath the pants cuffs. And hit the back. Hit the back. And then hit the bottoms. And there you go. So you can kind of tell already, slightly darker for the feet, which is Boba Fett accurate. You know, I'm kind of thinking of getting crazy. So these front pads, they almost look darker too. I'm going to hold off though. I don't want to get too crazy. I really want to paint these top. So he's got these top like leg packs right there and here. Really want to paint those with that dark color too, but I'm going to wait. Okay. So I think we're ready. So I think I'm going to start attacking the armor again. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to grab that jade color I was talking about. Okay. So I've seen a lot of pictures. Hold on, let me catch up on the job. And for someone who I wouldn't think has a lot of patience, you're pretty good at handling minis. Well, here's the thing, McKinley. I love art, and I can escape. I mean, I have to have patience all the time because my job, there's a bunch of ninnies and stuff never works, so that helps. But for me, painting minis, even especially when I'm not talking, it's very like therapeutic. You kind of get lost in the miniature. So it's easier than you'd think to kind of shut out the rest of the world. All right, I'm going to do 1 drop there. So you're definitely not wrong, but painting minis is very chill to me, so that does help. All right, so we're going to get a bunch of Boba Fett green is what I'm calling this color now, even though it's not. The green sky, which honestly isn't super far off. So I'm just going to start with a baby dollop of the jade and mix it in with the Boba Fett green. See how that looks. All right. That's cool, but I'm going to need probably a good bit more. Because you never know how strong a color is going to be compared to another color. Ooh, that's looking cool. You know what? I might do the whole kit and caboodle here. All right, mix it up really well. I'm going to mix the whole thing here. Ooh, yeah, that's cool. That's the color I'm looking for. Okay. Really get it. You don't want stripes, so do that. Roll it up. And we're going to hit the chest here. And that is pretty sick, if I do say so myself. I honestly think I might hit a little bit more, and I also may even add a little black in there. If any of this black is still usable. Maybe not. Yeah, I'm going to really get in there. I'm going for it. I'm crazy. Somebody stop me. Ooh, yeah. That's nice. Yeah, I've seen a lot of like the front plate is just super, got like a blue hue to it that looks different. Like maybe he went to a different paint shop. Maybe he like blasted the guy who originally did it and they were under new management. They're like, oh, Boba, we don't have that same paint chip. He's like, whatever. Get it as close as you can. Again, probably didn't happen that way, but I like to pretend. All right, so get that there. Oh, that's cool. Oh, man, again, can't really tell. It'll be better when I do pictures, but it's like ever so slightly a bluish color, and I think it looks really sick. And again, there's no wrong way to paint minis. So do whatever you like. All right. So that's pretty awesome. I'm very happy with that. All right. I might kind of ended up a little lumpy because like a dum-dum, I forgot to put water in there, and that's why they tell you don't do that. So I might. I mean, again, it's not going to matter because he's pretty beat to heck anyway. But, all right. So on his, I think we're going to hit the yellow again. Yeah, I remember, McKinley, didn't you do like a dragon or something? You did one of the bigger ones? Because those are actually really fun. I would say get a little bit bigger mini or a monster. It doesn't have to be huge, but it's a lot easier to do bigger creatures to get started than the little, like this is stupid level of detail that I'm probably going to go through with this guy. But, what was I going to do? Yes, the dragon looked really cool. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do, I think his targeting thing has yellow on the ends, or like on the earpiece. So I'm going to add some yellow to that. And this is coming out pretty liquid again. So we're going to go up the side here. Let the paintbrush do all the work. And go around. Boom. Oh, that's cool. So now he's got his little headpiece thing. He's got that little bit of yellow detail. Might hit the front ever so slightly too. Need more paint. It's starting already. Get a little bit dry, so I'm going to do this. And hit that up. There we go. That's nice. Very nice. All right, so he's starting to look like Boba Fett. All right, I might hit up some of the other green and clean up some of the boo-boos that I made so far. All right. Do a dollop of this that's not hit in the jade. Like literally just kind of skim whatever's on the top of it. Do that because I noticed I got a little bit of the red up on the helmet here. And red can be a pain to cover up. And I kind of want to build a base coat over some of his armor parts anyway. Like that. And back of the helmet. Cool. Cod piece, maybe get in there a little bit more. Hit that up. Okay. And then the cool part is I can clean up where I kind of went overboard with that dark green. I can clean all those parts up also. And make like a nice, because they kind of, because of the liquidy consistency of that paint, kind of went over where I wanted to go, so it was hard to kind of control the brush. But this green's in like perfect consistency, so I'm going to go back over and kind of round that out, hopefully, in theory. Yeah. And then get in there. Do that. There we go. Now it's a little bit cleaner edges. Get a mini of the dad bod Boba Fett. Okay, sure. There's about 10 things I was about to say out loud, and I don't want to because I don't want to ruin. I want to at least, let's wait till season 2 before we start getting weird with Boba Fett. Or not, I don't care. All right. What did I do with Ghost Gray? All right. I think I'm going to do a little bit more on the hands now. And I actually think I'm going to get really detailed because I like to like try to make the fingers, because they're such a small detail, but an important one. And usually when a character has like a gun or his hands in a certain position, you see them right away on the mini. So I'm going to go in and try to clean up where the shade isn't. Just ever so slightly. I'm just kind of love tapping like on his hand. The fingers, you can probably see I got inside of his mitt. And like right here, I'm just kind of grazing down, trying to leave as much of that shade as possible in the segmented parts. But then like over here, we can kind of hit these just the top. Just ever so slightly. Let this dry a little bit. And just kind of tag the gloves. Tag around here. So yeah, so again, you can almost see. I brightened up the bright parts of the hand, but I still left some of that like segmented shadow. Oh, man, Amelia, I'm gonna hurt you. All right. And then just maybe brush a little bit more. And I might go back and add a little more like just actual controlled shade. But I kind of like the kind of brushed area look. All right. And I'm going to clean up his ropes a little bit more. Throw a little more dried paint on there. These are all looking pretty good here. All right. And then the gun part. That's the other section. His gun hand. Let's get a little bit of paint here. And just kind of tag the knuckles and the fingers that are holding the gun. I'm almost like doing an edge highlight on the actual base part. Hitting the fingers on the inside. Get inside there. And again, you probably can't really see. But now there's really cool like shading in the hand and the knuckles on his gun hand. So pretty happy with that. All right, so now I think we're gonna bust out the actual dry brush. And we're gonna pop the legs again. I kind of want to work on the cape a little bit. So that middle part, now that we got the base down, actually, I lied. We're gonna do the shade, and this might be all she wrote for his cape for right now. So I have an actual shade brush. I have a dark sepia shade wash that I'm gonna hit. Oh, and actually, you know what? I changed my mind. We're going to use the brush we were using, or one of these, and I'm going to actually just go inside of the crevices of the cape instead of doing the whole thing. See how that pans out. So again, pretty generous within the cracks. I want the paint to go in there. I want this wash to go in every single crack. Yeah, so you can already see the glaze is settling in the cape, so it's going to look like cool shadows. So I actually might just kind of go crazy here, because thankfully this is kind of falling off what I don't want it to be on and staying where I want it to. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to tap this, let it really get in that section of the cape. Kind of add that three-dimensional layer. Definitely want it on the outside and the front, because that's going to be the most visible. The undersides usually you don't have to care as much about, but I'm really going to hit it here. All right, so it's starting to pool in a spot I don't really want it to. So I'm going to dry off the brush and just tap that, and it just literally sucked off part of the pauldron. So that looks sick. And then when I bring it back up with the other lighter colors, this is going to look really three-dimensional. But you can already kind of see where it like pulled in. Kind of fix that up, yeah. And I'm going to hit one more part of this edge right here in the connected section. I'm really going to let it pull in there for shading. All right, and then I'm going to get it away from the gauntlet a little bit here. Boom. Okay, I'm digging that. The glaze, yes. Gotta love a good wash. All right, now on the inside I can really go crazy with this, because you want as many shadows as possible, especially since once I put the legs on, part of that's going to be covered by his one leg that's up. So I'm just really going to let this pool inside of here. And again, I'm just kind of like tapping it, letting it set. I might not even do a ton of like bringing this back up with the lighter colors, because this looks so cool. But we'll see how it dries. They always dry a little bit less than what you think even, so we'll see how it looks. Get this in here. Yeah. So you can kind of see inside there now. There's all that cool shadow that's going to dry flat and kind of blend in with the cape. So that'll be cool. All right. So that looks like a beat up, worn cape. I'm going to kind of clean some of this up and add some shade there. And add a little more here. Okay. So that's probably all she wrote on the top for now, because that glaze is going to take a minute to dry. So I might add another. I might clean up the brown here on the feet. On the pouches. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. All right. And what time is it? How long have we been going for? 43. Oh, dang. Oh, wow. You guys are crazy, man. I can't believe you've hung out this long. I mean, it didn't feel that long for me because I'm doing the boring thing. So, but I'm surprised you've hung this long. All right. So, another dollop of that. We're going to do this. We're going to do... I'm going to hit the feet with another round of this darker gray. Just knitting, brah. We're going to do side there. And we'll come back with a nice wash when we're done. Probably do a little bit more controlled wash on the feet. I think we've hit it. Cool. So we're good there. All right. And I think the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hit the brown. Was it heavy Sienna or was it this guy? I need to stop putting my paints all over the place. Because now I think, yeah, that was the one I didn't use. It's this guy. Heavy Sienna, right? This is the more red one. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to do, was this the brush that's slightly smaller? Yeah. All right, and this paint is already pretty liquidy. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to go back over all the belt parts and pouches with a second coat because we messed them up pretty good. I'm putting my hands all over his shoes, which is not a smart move, but it happened. So what are you going to do about it? Nothing. All right. Get in there. I realized that I missed this back part of the pouch and this connecting section, which again, probably going to be covered by the cape, but I'll do it anyway since it's separated. We can really let this torso section kind of glop on there. Go around the whole base. And I think, oh, bring this part back up. All right. That's beautiful, I think. So all the pouches, the feet, the cod piece, I can do all the detail work now. So, all right. Let's see if I can safely put them back together now. And then, ooh, that's kind of sketchy right there, but oh well. That's all going to be brown anyway. Okay. So this is what we have so far. Got a pretty Boba Fett looking Boba Fett. And I'm going to have to wait until all this wash dries, and then I'll do more, and then I'll post pictures. But I'm real happy right now. Yee. So once all the highlighting stuff is done, it's going to be pretty cool, I think. But got to let all these parts dry on the cape. And then we can really get in there and fine tune all the detail. But that's basically how I paint stuff. So I'll do the rocket pack too at some point. Actually, you know what? We'll hit the 2-hour mark. I'll do the backpack. And I think it's just pretty much, yeah, it's just his color. Actually, it's kind of a different color. You know, because we're already getting crazy. I'm going to take this dark green because now that I'm seeing the back of this, man, there's like so many crazy different variations of his costume. I think this is a different, darker color. So I'm going to hit up some dark green. And I'm going to hit up Boba Fett green. And we're going to mix the two like a crazy person. And we're going to use the bigger brush. A little bit of water just in case. We're going to take a bunch of this and mix it in with this. I'm just going to let them both kind of hang out here. Oh, yeah, there you go. That's looking pretty much perfect. So I'm going to let these blend a little bit. All right. Top there. All right, then we're gonna get this nice and mixed in, and all over the paintbrush. Those caves mentioned before. Yeah, so I've been going through pictures again, McKinley. So there's different ones where half of his helmet is the darker kind of bluish green, and that's why I did the chest plate. The chest plate has that bluish tint to it. So, again, there's no wrong way to paint Boba Fett. Unless you paint him silver and purple, and then he's dead. Because that was his dad. But no spoilers. Yeah. Yep. Mostly silver with like blue and purple highlights, and no head. You got to take the head off of the model, and you'll get that eventually when you have enough alcohol to watch the prequels. Yes, detachable head. McKinley knows exactly what I'm talking about. I just glue a purple lightsaber to his base. All right, so that's pretty cool. So now comparatively, this should be a slightly, kind of a darker color. I might add some more in there, and I may, you know what? I might do that now while we're thinking of it. I'm going to throw, because it kind of almost lightened it up a little bit. I mean, I know it's going to dry darker. I'm going to hit a little bit of black up in there in this next round. A little bit more. Man, these greens are really real aggressive. Okay. And that was way too much. So we're going to go crazy here. Yep. Shout out to Sam Jackson. He got Nick Fury'd. All right, so this is a good starter color, I think. If I have to darken it down, it is what it is. But I think that's actually pretty cool. Once it dries, it'll be a slightly darker shade with a little bit of that like greenish blue in there. And we'll get it just right according to the references I'm looking at. No, we already said that. McKinley. She's going to probably at the end, but alcohol will have to be involved. In some parts, there will be hysterical laughter. So, because prequels are not good. So that's my thing. Here's how I view Star Wars for me. I'm not like a super fan by any means, but I love the first three because number one, nostalgia, and number two, I think they just hold up. You watch them again. They're really good movies. The dialogue's amazing. The action's amazing. The special effects, a lot of it, even now, some of it's, obviously dated, but some of it even now looks amazing. Killer, just the vibe, the star battles, the Hoth battle. You felt like these were all people working together and there were actual stakes, and like the spaceship battles had like a cool buddy like Top Gun vibe that I think they have to kind of force nowadays. They just felt like a bunch of guys who were going in there trying to get the job done and like an actual flight crew, and just had that cool action. But the sequels, I think, are really pretty. They're good movies. I don't think they're great Star Wars stories because they were all over the place, and you can tell that 3 different directors were trying to figure out what to do like on the spot. So that's not great. I'm all here for Luke in the sequels because that's how life does you, man. You think you have it figured out, you do stuff, your coworkers, okay, Candace knows this. You train someone, you get a bunch of guys, new guys in, you train them, you pour your heart and soul into trying to like show them how to do things. They turn on you, or they just are completely useless. You get bitter. Just saying. So it's absolutely based on something that could happen in the future. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I think they're good. I think they really weird stories, and they're kind of unnecessary. I will say this. I don't like Rey as a character. I think she got too powerful too quick with zero struggle. I don't think she's a cool character. I think they would have been awesome movies without her. I don't think they needed her in there. But, well, yeah. Technically it was 2 directors, but three they swapped over and screwed up each other's stories. So, I don't like Rey. I loved everybody else. Could have been a lot cooler, but they could have been a lot worse. And at least they were good movies. The dialogue was funny. The action was cool. Oh, and I didn't like, what's the orange lady? I didn't like her either. She was terrible. The little orange alien. But they were all watchable, good movies. Prequels are horrible effects, horrible story, ruined and made massive plot holes in the Star Wars universe that was already established. See, if you're a sequel, you can do whatever you want and mess up the future, whatever. The prequels messed up 4, 5, and 6. A bunch of different plot points. Qui-Gon Jinn shouldn't have been a character. That was fine without him. Yoda trained Obi-Wan. That was their relationship. It was awesome in Empire. Totally messed it up with Liam Neeson. Love Liam Neeson. He should have just been a cool Jedi in the background. Darth Maul's awesome, and Duel of the Fates is awesome. Only good thing, like truly good thing about it, and they kind of messed that up too. I don't like the Anakin story. I don't like him being a little kid. I think him and Obi-Wan should have been closer to the same age, and he should have been a legit like fighter pilot or pilot of something, not pod racing. Pod racing was horrible. Hated it. Ugh. We waited in line to see Phantom Menace when it came out. I wanted to leave halfway through. That should tell you. I was so excited. And then I looked at my friends probably about the hour mark. And I was like, this is bad, right? And they're like, no, this is terrible. I don't know what's happening. And I want to leave, but we waited for this like overnight. So I'm like, yeah, this is not a good situation. This movie is terrible. And what did he do to his own franchise? And then Clone Wars, or whatever it's called, Attack of the Clones. Not good. Sad times. Yeah, so don't like them. Rogue One's awesome. Mandalorian is amazing. Boba Fett through the roof, hype level. that last episode. The way he comes into town riding a certain thing, ridiculous. Awesome. I loved it. Yeah, so mini Boba Fett. I like Boba Fett. He's cool. I'm gonna go now. Thanks for hanging out for 2 hours. That's crazy. It was fun though. I want to do more like paint streams and maybe tabletop stuff if we can find tabletop stuff. So, yay, fun. Okay. Well, thanks guys for hanging out and listening to my Star Wars TED Talk. So, ye indeed. Just remember, sand. It's rough. It's coarse. It's irritating. And it gets everywhere.